Hey guys, and welcome to the Raid and Trade YouTube channel. It's Ben, and today I'm bringing to you my Despia deck profile from the regional in Cologne. I went 8-0 and won the regional, but it was 1 week before YCS London, so we decided not to post the profile until the YCS was over. So yeah, now I'm finally bringing it to you, and let's just get right back into it. For the Despia engine, I played 3 Aluber, 3 Tragedy, and 1 ad libitum. 3 Tragedy because this was more of a deep draw deck list than the 40 cards version that was running around for the past few weeks. I played the deck more like it was played last Nationals format, so I played 52 cards to fit everything. So Allures, Patchwork, and of course 3 Tragedy then 3 Fallen of Albas. You could play this at 2 in other lists, but if you're playing Allure and whatever, I think you want to play 3 for sure. 2 Cartesia, I don't have the second one on me right now, so but yeah, I played 2 just because I was also playing Pot of Desires for more draw power. And I think Cartesia is more or less the only part of the new engine pieces that is necessary to play because it's so strong. So I wasn't playing Beast Shields or anything, or Branded in White or Retribution, but I decided that Cartesia was still worth to play because it gives you a lot of combo lines through Ash or protects you from Imperm. Then 3 Albion the Shrouded Dragon because it sets up Branded in Red, sets up Cartesia, and it's more darks for Allure and can be a monster for Patchwork. 1 Spriggan's Kit and 1 Tri-Brigade Mercuria. I only played 1 Mercuria because I think it's still a bad draw, even though it synergizes with Allure. And I decided that 1 kit was worth to play, and just in case you wanted to set up another branded spell trap, and were able to search this off of Branded Lost, for example. Then I played the 1 Dark Magician because I was also playing Dragoon. Just think it's auto-winning against Runic and Labyrinth, so it's worth to include. It's not that bad of a hard draw if you can already play. My only hand trap in the main deck was 3 Gamma and the Driver, of course, because I think this was strong enough against every deck to warrant main decking it. I was only playing 7 non-engine in 52, which is not a lot, but I think this deck is the best deck in the format of that can break boards with its engine, so I think it was fine. Gamma is of course the most generic one, and sometimes if you hard open Branded Fusion with this, you can also protect from Ash. Then I played 3 Etchem for the Patchwork engine, 3 Etchem, 3 Patchwork, 2 Polymerization. I decided to max out on these, just because this is also the best discard in the deck, more or less, especially going second. And Patchwork just is a very strong play into fair end boards. So I figured since a lot of people were tired of Kashtira, people were going to play Sprite a lot, people were going to play Labyrinth, people were going to play these kind of decks. And Patchwork is really strong in breaking boards that do not immediately FTK you or stop you from playing. So as long as you can somewhat play, I think Patchwork and Etchem are the best cards. Then, of course, 3 Branded Fusion, best card in the deck, 3 Opening, gets you to Branded Fusion. I decided to play 2 Branded in Red, partly because of Desires, but partly is also a good resource to have, because then you can use 1 if you hard draw to break the board, and it's not as hard to set up the second one for the opponent's turn. Otherwise, you kind of have to like reset it, and since I'm not playing Retribution, the only way to do that is Tragedy, and you often want to use the search effect of Tragedy. 1 Branded Lost. I think it's very, very good to play, even though I was not playing Lubellion. I think it's still strong enough to play. You can set it up with the Luba still, and yeah, it protects your stuff from interaction. Then 3 Deployment. Even without the big combo pieces, I think this is a very good card. Protects you from Imperm, gives you additional plays. Basically, this card says is a 3rd extender after your normal summon play and your Branded Fusion play. This card also allows you to get into a Mirror Jade combo. Especially, well, first and foremost, go in second. One Gold Sark, I think it's a versatile starter. You can banish either Mercuria or Tragedy with this, and Mercuria, of course, can get you anything from Cortesia to Albus to Albion. Then draw power, 3 Allure through 2 Desires. Allure, of course, I think everybody knows this card's insane in this deck. I think the only problem people are having with it is space issues, but I decided just go all out on 52 cards. Kind of ignore the FTK boards and say, okay, I'm just breaking all the fair boards. And then 2 Pot of Desires. I think this card is absolutely playable in this deck. It's just game 1, it protects you from Ash kind of, because everybody's ashing this. And game 2 and onwards is still just 2 free cards. It's very, very good into boards because they kind of force to negate this. And banishing 10 doesn't really matter at all because everything you play is multiples except like the one at Libitum, I guess, and maybe the one Branded lost, but those are not mandatory. Like if you banish the ad libitum, yeah, okay, it kind of sucks, but your board is still good enough every time. 3 Super Poly is the additional 3 non-engine, well, kind of an engine card in this deck, but I think this card is very good. It helps you to break boards. It's also good going second, just synergizes with the engine very well. So I decided that this is powerful enough to play it as one of my few non-engine slots, and then I decided to play 1 Branded Banishment in the main. This card is kind of cuttable. People haven't really been playing this in the last few months, I think, especially in the main deck, because it's the best in the mirror. But I really like the utility of this, and a friend of mine played more or less this exact list, Johannes Bauer, at a regional the week before and went X1 with it, got top 8 in Schweinfurt, and he told me I would have to play this, that this card is really broken, so I decided to give it a shot because I definitely think this is solid, and going first it's a broken interaction. Especially against Sprite, if you're playing a starving venom that I'm playing, you can just super poly the board at any point during their combo. If they're breaking your board and they like hand trip you, whatever, just having this is often enough to stop their turn. Then for the extra deck, I played 2 Albion. This is standard right now, I think. Didn't really have space for the third. 2 Rebellion, have to play 2 because of Kashtera. 2 Mirajade, standard. 1 Rindbrum, didn't have space for the second. Don't think it's necessarily needed because there's a few cards that Kashtera wants to rip. So this is not necessarily the primary target. 1 Sprint, this is kind of necessary to play for, because it's a monster that can, it's a send that can summon Albus in the end phase, and also you can fuse monsters that are special summoned this turn. So if you send Rindbrum, summon back Albus in the opponent's turn, you can make this with any monster that the opponent special summoned this turn, basically, like Kashtera monsters that you couldn't fuse away otherwise. Also helps you get rid of Contact C. 1 Masquerade, didn't have space for the second one, but I think you should have one of the Despia monsters in your extra deck, and this helps you in timeout and also pressure stacks like Runic a lot if you can protect it. Then 1 Granganule, the Cartesia fusion. This helps you extend your combos with the Cartesia, or make like a minimal board if you could Ash and still have Cartesia. I decided not to play any targets for this card's second effect, so that's why Masquerade is my only Despia fusion, basically. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think Courageous on its own comes up often enough to play it, and Perskinen is probably fake as well, because the mirror doesn't really come up that often. I played 2 Chimera. I think I had to play 2 because of Patchwork, because I need 1 for my turn to break the board, and then the second one for the follow-up turn. And the opponent's turn to like disrupt them with Brandon Red. 1 Sopelia. I think this card might be cuttable, but I think it's very strong with the Patchwork engine. If you're not playing Patchwork, probably not needing this often enough. 1 Dragoon. As I said before, I'm playing Dark Magician. I think this card is auto-win against Labyrinth and Runic, and it's also very strong into the Kashtera board. So I decided to play Starving Venom as my Super Poly target for the Mind Hacker and a Rise Heart. So if they're ripping your extra deck, they can only take 1 of these. or the Rindrum, and then you still have 2 out of those 3 to break the board, so that's why I'm not playing multiples of either of these. I think extra deck was fine. I never really missed something. Kind of wish I could fit Garura in there, but wasn't really possible. Then for the side deck, I played 3 Ash Blossom. I had to play at least 2 because of Crossout and Desires and whatever, because I don't want to play 1 with Crossout, because if you draw it, it's gonna suck really bad, and 2 with so 2 were my go-to, because going first is also fine, because you can side out the Gamma, so you have to like side in stuff anyways. So I decided to just play the third, because it's the most versatile card that also covers Labyrinth and Runic decks, because I didn't really want to play back removal for Labyrinth, because I feel like back removal isn't strong enough outside of the Labyrinth matchup to warrant committing side slots to it. 3 draw, stop combo decks, like the big cash combo or Dark World. I think like as long as you can limit their end board to be somewhat minimal, you can always break it. So I think in a deck that can play only a few non-engine spots, draw is really strong, because all that matters is stop them for 1 turn, break their board, and then set up something that they cannot break back. 3 Kurikara, this can break both cash boards, and I think cash setting up an insta-win board is one of your biggest lose guns in this. I didn't end up playing any cash that tournament, so can't really say whether this deck's strong enough into cash tier or not, because I think game 1 you definitely commit to a weaker game plan against cash than the 40 card build that maybe plays a few more non-engine, or like the same non-engine in 40 cards. But I felt like even if I did face them, the post-side game plan was strong enough. Then 3 Crossout that I already mentioned. This kind of needed to beat Ash. I didn't side any other targets for it. I guess you can side it against the Mirror going second for the Puppet Lock. Just cross out the Expulsion. 1 Cold Buy also beats Ash, and it's also good against Mathmag and the Mirror going second. And then Puppet Lock, I think I resolved this like 3 or 4 times, and it's really strong. Even through Ash, through draw, you can often set up this, and it's enough to skip the opponent's turn, and then you just kill on the 3rd turn. Felt really strong. I think this is really unfair, kind of, because stop the opponent from playing with not a lot of investment, honestly. But to be fair, I only got Biz Shield 1 time on this, and I had Dragoon to negate that, so I guess maybe if people are more prepared for it, then it gets much harder to do. Yeah, overall I was very happy with the deck, of course. Before I felt like it was kind of a gamble to go into it, but it's really fun to play, because it gives you a lot of agency as a player. You can break boards with this, you feel like your decisions have impact on your gameplay, and it worked out really well for me. I had played a lot of Sprites, Labyrinth, Mathmag that tournament, no Capturer, so I'm not sure. I wasn't confident bringing this to the YCS, because I felt like I didn't get ashed enough to say whether or not this deck's strong enough to ash. I didn't face enough Capturer to say, okay, this card is good against the whole meta, because Capturer obviously is usually the #1 contender, and as we saw in London, Capturer is the deck to beat. So I'm not sure whether this is really evidence of the deck being the best or a very good pick for the meta, but I think it's definitely up there. Big shoutouts to Johannes Bauer again. Basically give me this list card for card. I think I only switched up like the side and 1 or 2, maybe 3 cards in the main deck. Other than that, it was completely based on his experience. I think he built it together with Dimitar Petrov, so also shoutouts to Dimi. And of course, shoutouts to the team, shoutouts to Raid and Trade, everybody who helped me test in preparation for London. And shoutouts to Ultimate Guard for providing us with the red Cortex sleeves. They're not released yet, but they'll be out soon. And also providing me with the deck box for this tournament. So yeah, that's my Despia deck profile from Cologne. Hope you enjoyed it, and see you again with the next deck profile in a bit.